Do you see anything wrong with the money that you see on the screen before you? All of these notes, this currency, the 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, $100 bills? See any problem with it? We'll answer that question after we explore. Actually, not much exploration is really needed to tell. If you look at these very closely, or even just marginally, you can see it says motion picture purposes. That's right. These are props for the movies. Indeed, look at these. I actually have one of these somewhere in my collection. I got them some time ago. They're pretty neat in a way, but they can pose a problem. A member of the community sent me an article here from CoinWorld that says that movie money can pose a potential problem to the public. But you know what? It's not just movie money that's the problem. There's a greater lesson here. And the ease of which this stuff can be made, and with the internet, it has become quite an issue. Movie or prop money used to be something of an inside joke. It came about because of the risk of accounting for massive amounts of cash on filming sets when it was required as part of a script. You know, as rich as many of these Hollywood actors and some of these films are, the sets and the amount of money it costs to produce some of the stuff, especially the Avatar series, which apparently that new Avatar movie is not doing so hot. All the money you put into it, what's a couple of bucks they put on the screen, even if its suitcase is full? Producers realized that it was smarter to make paper props that look like real money from afar but bear no overt similarity to the real thing up close. Few viewers knew anything about the substitutions until the internet changed everything. And also high definition as well, too. In fact, I remember seeing a show that showed some $100 bills, and I freeze framed it and saw that you could very clearly see it says motion picture money on it. And something was unknown and hard to get is now ubiquitous, so much so that Crane Currency, a leading producer of real money, that's the Crane Paper Company in Massachusetts, the one company that is making sure that we still have the dollar bill in circulation, by the way. That's a whole other story. But they are calling attention to it. It says on its website, today, movie and prop money is widely and cheaply promoted via the internet. And this has opened up a whole new fields of opportunity for cons, criminals, and counterfeiters. Crane calls movie money and holograms a dangerous combination. As popular as holograms are as a security feature on many valid banknotes, the company draws a distinction between the anti-counterfeiting measures it provides to central banks, such as its micro-optic 3D security called Motion, and the cheaper deceptive ploys, which as tiny foils and stick-on holograms that Crane says have the potential to trick the public into accepting a fake banknote as real. It says the combination of movie money and holograms therefore creates the risk of highly deceptive counterfeits that are relatively easy to make. Nick Pearson, principal currency technologist at Crane Currency, says movie money is not highly deceptive. The problem starts when the internet compels thousands of consumers to purchase them on a whim, and then hundreds of thousands of fake notes are now out there. At this point, it becomes a certainty that some will be passed off as genuine. In fact, it has happened. I think I may have even covered some of those stories in the past. And more nefariously, someone will start using them as a convenient starting point for making counterfeits that can be very deceptive. And Crane marketing director Todd Nyedick reinforced the gravity of the situation. When something we know is wrong, but easy to do or acquire, we are good at rationalizing that it's okay. We talk a great deal about security features for banknotes that are designed to prevent counterfeiting, but we need to talk more about how the internet is changing things. He added, just as the internet popularized downloading copyrighted music, the same popularization of holding movie money and even taking the steps to improve it by applying stick-on holograms has to be considered. In the past, the materials and know-how needed to create fake banknotes was shared between criminals and countered by law enforcement. Today, the materials, hacks, and even the idea of creating counterfeits are broadcast online. The notes are often called counterfeits in the media, but it is not illegal to own them given the differences with real money are obvious. However, it is not legal to try to spend them. And so, really, they're right. These are not actual counterfeits because nowhere on here does it say that it is money. It doesn't say legal tender. It just has a serial number, and probably a repeated serial number. And actually, some of these notes have even different facial expressions, like the raised eyebrow for Benjamin Franklin, or a smirk on Hamilton's face, that type of thing. Seen different ones. It says this note is for motion picture purposes and is not legal tender. So it's not really a counterfeit, but obviously it looks, at first glance, it looks relatively genuine. It even has the word copy on there. And so motion picture purposes, all throughout here for each of these notes. That's so remarkable. Now, this is becoming a problem, and I think, honestly, this is probably going to fast-track them into try to want to make a move towards a digital currency to become more cashless or to move in that direction. Or that might be the impetus for it anyways as we move forward here, but who knows? But regardless, this is quite an interesting story. And what is the greater thing here, too? Obviously, they are threatened as these things become printed and you can buy them. I saw a video where somebody was like, had a link, an affiliate link where you can buy stacks and stacks of this stuff. It's kind of neat to have it. This stuff is used in the movies and the like. But with these security features that are even done in such a way that it can make it easily passable, I guess, and people don't know what to recognize and know what to look for. I will say an anti-counterfeiting technology that I've seen on a bank document one time was actually a heat-sensitive paper. In other words, when you touch the paper, it actually would turn orange from the body heat from your fingers. And then as soon as you took your fingers away, and after a few seconds, it cooled down, and then it went back to white. That's a pretty interesting feature. That would be very difficult to counterfeit, but be something that's easily recognizable, as long as the chemicals in that process don't cause an issue. However, this being said, with this happening, with these currencies being created and passed around, the feds are nervous about it. Counterfeiting or even money that's not meant to be utilized in that purpose, the currency, but passed off as counterfeits or passed off as the real thing for illegal reasons, poses a threat to them. Well, I'll tell you what, federal government and Federal Reserve, by the way, which you'll note that none of these say Federal Reserve note on there either. So there's no tie-in to the Federal Reserve on these things. But the Federal Reserve note, some people would call what they do legal counterfeiting. Now, again, that's sort of an oxymoron because if it's legal, it's not counterfeiting, right? Technically. But they are robbing us. They are robbing us of value every single time they continue to print these. What I hold in my hand is an actual Federal Reserve note. And this thing has lost a lot of value since the Federal Reserve has been created, about 98% of its value. And so with that being said, they can complain all they want about passing off these notes, because do they dilute the money supply? No, because they're eventually taken out. They're eventually discovered. Yes, there are some really good counterfeits out there. There was at one time an actual counterfeit $100 bills were circulating around. Many thought those were called super notes, and many thought they were presses, actual presses that went into North Korea and currency presses, and they made some of the older $100 bills. This is what led to the current $100 bill that looks like this. That's why they went into those advanced security measures on there to try to prevent those notes from being detected or utilized. So very interesting indeed. But regardless, there's where we are at. So as they crack down on this stuff, well, I hope that somebody will crack down and speak up against what they are doing to rob us. They're not counterfeiting. It's not legal counterfeiting. And no, they're not fake. What the Federal Reserve is doing is very real. They really are robbing us of our value. And this is why, folks, it's a good idea to consider holding gold and silver. They can't fake that. They can't detract from its true value, even if the price fluctuates from day to day. So we'll hold on to our gold and silver, and we'll laugh at all of them as they continue to debase our money supply with legal counterfeiting, with printing of money, and as they gawk and complain about motion picture money. I'll tell you what, with what the Federal Reserve is doing and the madness of the markets, it gives me motion sickness about what they're doing. So motion picture purposes, I'll tell you what, motion sickness is their purpose. That's what's causing all of us. Hope you found this video insightful. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.